This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thought, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What's different this time is that new government satellite data shows a massive, unprecedented increase in the number of fires this year, since January. We're talking about more than 72,000 fire outbreaks. That's an 84% increase. But most shockingly, more than 9,500 fires just since last Thursday.
Yeah, the Amazon's on fire. I don't know if you guys know this. And for us here in the United States of America, know that this is the Amazon, as they like to say, it's the lungs of our planet, and it's on fire. And you've got the president of Bolsonaro of Brazil, who's saying, "Oh, it's the NGOs; they need money," and you got people saying, "No, it's climate change." There's so many fires that I'm sure it's a bit of everything, right? Because and the Brazil government, if for those you don't know, they need land, right? They need land. They need stuff for as they continue to grow and the population grows, and so what they do is they start to cut some of this stuff down, which you're not supposed to do, but they kind of turn a blind eye. Then they'll burn it. They'll do like a controlled burn in certain areas. So it's ugly. But I was just reading a headline. It's all. Politicians and celebs decide that it's time to start fighting the fires on the Amazons. And I'm like, so celebs? Now that's what's making you do it? Well, yeah, I don't do anything unless somebody's had a number one hit. And once you've had a number one hit, then I got to listen to you because you are popular. So stupid. But the battle is on, and this is here goes the climate change thing. Think about how many fires there are in the Amazon. That's what's crazy. It's like these are because so many, and it's not just, big evil corporations. There's small farmers. There's other people out there. They do control burns. They're trying to control certain areas that they live in. It's crazy. And now it's the blame game, because the blame game is always fun, because what do we need? A villain.
The answer, perhaps, according to environmentalists anyway, is the president, Jair Bolsonaro. The new right-wing president of Brazil would describe himself, I think, it's fair to say, as fairly anti-environmentalist, kind of more on the side of developers than conservationists. And he thinks that environmentalists and conservationists have had too much of a free rein in the Amazon, that previous administrations have given them too much power. So he's tried to roll back some of the restrictions on farmers in previous years.
Yeah, so let the battle begin. But just know that there's a giant fire going on in our lungs, if you will. Just want to point that out. Chris Hayes. So Bernie Sanders, we all know who he is, right? It's me. It's 1%. Everybody. That's probably who caused this fire. It's the 1%. It's the Koch brothers. It's everybody. It's the 1%. And this blah, 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 blah. So he was on with, God, every time I look at Chris Hayes, I just think he looks like a caterpillar from a Disney movie. It's probably not. That's yeah. I don't care if I'm a jerk. It's true. It's true. Sometimes things are just true. So he was on, and he was in Sacramento, he's in California. Everybody's in California but Biden, Beto, and Buttigieg, because it's the big, they're having this big thing in California. But so Bernie, first of all, he went out to Paradise, right, which where the big fire was, and he blamed the big fire on climate change, and which is an absolute lie. The big fire was PG&E, right? PG&E caused the fire. PG&E did. They did. They caused the fire, right? The fact that some of the regulations in California are so insane where you can't, stuff is dry and you're not allowed to remove it or do anything because of all these crazy loony regulations. But no, it's the 1% and climate change and blah, 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 blah. So he was on with Chris Hayes talking about, what he'd like to do when it comes to energy. And Chris Hayes is just, what is Chris Hayes?
I want to talk about one part of the plan that I find fascinating, which is about how power is generated and distributed. You talk about there's some federal public administration of power in this country based on the Tennessee Valley Authority and others. Right. Basically you propose essentially a federal takeover of the whole thing, that essentially a Tennessee Valley Authority extension for the whole country, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, you're in the ballpark. That's right.
That's right. Yeah, you're in the ballpark. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, we're going to take over all of the power, and that's what the government should be doing. This is why, even when I talk to my friends who are Democrats, who are liberals, even progressive, this is the fear factor of the Bernie. So he wants a full takeover of health care. Now he's proposing in his $16.3 trillion Green New Deal over 10 years is a takeover of the government of energy.
Look, the TVA has done a lot of good work. It produces electricity from hydropower and other sources. What we need to do is have an aggressive federal government saying that we are going to produce a massive amount from solar and from wind and from other sustainable energies, and we will sell it out. And by the way, we're going to make money doing that. But you can't nibble around the edges anymore. We need to transform our energy system. That means a massive increase in sustainable energy.
That's it. Massive increase. And look, I've talked it ad nauseum. I think we need to do a much better job at the way we create energy. I'm a big fan of nuclear. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's a good thing. I think we should be using nuclear in a bigger way. I think we should look at it. Everybody freaks out about it, right? Everybody, oh my God, blah, blah. But no, I'm a big fan of that. And I think in certain areas, you can pull off some solar. You can pull off a lot of different things. But what you also need, and this is something that people need to realize who are, who, when we talk about climate change and all of these things, is you also need consistency, right? When it comes to that. You don't want hey, you know what? 2 days a week I go home and my power's not working, but I just got to deal with that. You don't want that. We won't accept that, right? You're not going to accept that. So we need consistency. And I think through technology and stuff we can do that. But one thing I know is I don't want the government. I mean, you're talking about taking over and nationalizing our power and energy and our health care. What's next? I mean, this is what it is. He's proposed the, nationalizing banks and the post office. My goodness me. That's the scary part. That's the scary part. Like, I'm sorry, man. Right? I know you're genuine in your belief and I understand, but that's the stuff that scares me, right? You want to have this crazy socialist utopia that doesn't exist. Speaking of crazy, it's socialist utopia. So Hasbro has put together a Monopoly game that is socialist, right? So it's a socialist Monopoly game, right? And people are upset and some people are mad, and I think it's funny. Go for it. Have fun, right? Have fun with it. And you get to draw all kinds, just like you draw all kinds of cards and some of this stuff, right? So it's the adult twist, as they call it, on the classic Monopoly game, but this time it's socialism. So including a reduced $50 living wage, right, for pass and go. Normally you get $200 for pass and go. So the joke is socialism makes you poorer. And this is a parody. So everybody needs to get over themselves, right? And there's all kinds of things that you can do when you pull it out. And, these cards are just so funny. I laugh. People can't take a joke. People get freaked out. Oh, my God, it's so wrong. No, it's real. It's real. So instead of buying hotels, it's all commune. Nobody really wins the game. There's no real, and along the way you struggle and, oh, my God. So they're going to be rolling it out. I think it's $60 or $20, something like that. No, it's $20. And we got a commercial. Thank you, Hasbro, for sending it to us early.
If you vow to never again play a never-ending game of Fat Cat Capitalistic Monopoly, Hasbro has great news for you. Hasbro presents the latest in millennial board games, Socialism Monopoly. In this game, you won't travel the board game alone. No, you move from space to space with a mob of angry, entitled radical revolutionaries who make sure you never win too much money. Because if you do, you get a card that allows them to club you over the head and distribute your hard-earned dollars equally to fellow comrades. Along the way, you'll stop at a no-tipping, gluten-free vegan restaurant with a living wage for a snack and then hop over to your free college. Get free STD test at your free healthcare clinic and stop at the Community Museum of Co-Creation, where everyone takes credit for everything ever invented. Best of all, there is no get-out-of-jail-free card, because jail is so politically incorrect. Monopoly Socialism, the game for people who are tired of winning and who just want free crap. I mean, hey, we don't have to pay for it, right? Hasbro Monopoly Socialism, just $19.99. Because the game isn't free, bro. Monopoly Socialism, endorsed by Socialist Dead and Alive, from Bernie Warren and AOC to Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and Chairman Mao.
Wow, that sounds like fun. Who's ready for that? You? Me? I think we can all be ready for that. That's a good time right there, kids. Socialism. It's what's not for dinner. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. How do you feel about food? I'm starving right now. I played 2 soccer games last night. So we had the big give-a-thon, and I didn't eat because I kind of am doing intermittent fasting where I kind of like 16-8, sometimes 18-6, if you guys don't know what that is. It's where there's several different ways you intermittent fast. But so if you have, let's say you finish eating at 7 o'clock at night, in theory, you're not going to eat again until 11 or 12 the next day. So, and that's when you break your fast, if you will. And so you skip, breakfast or whatever it is. And yesterday I had lunch. I was starving. And I'm working out hard and doing everything. And I went and played soccer last night. I'm like, well, I'll get some food after soccer. And then I got invited to play another game. I'm like, well, I'm not turning that down. And then it was just too late to eat. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. And this is maybe, I almost said earlier, I felt a little hangry. And oddly enough, can food improve your mood?
More and more studies are proving a link between your belly and your brain. In fact, doctors say 90% of the chemical serotonin is manufactured in your gut. So eating the right foods can actually stave off depression and make you happier. The experts say you should steer clear of processed foods that don't boost the good bacteria you produce in your belly. Eat at least 5 servings of fruits and veggies a day, and actually enjoy your meals. Eating with others, not chowing down in front of the TV. All of it can improve your mood.
Oh, yeah. Hence the reason people get hangry. You know what I'm talking about. Where you're so, like 2 weeks ago when Jack was here, there was a day where he was tired and he was hungry, to the point where he became hangry. And I finally said, dude, you're hangry. He's like, what do you mean, Dad? I said, you're being a turd because you haven't eaten. And sure enough, he ate something. And in the space of about 20 minutes, his mood changed. I get that way too, man. I get hangry fast. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of people tweeting in, talking about, we're touching on David Koch, who passed away, one of the Koch brothers. Evil David. And it's just so funny to see the reaction of some people and just how awful they are. Somebody said, well, when Soros dies, the Republicans, I'm like, and I'll call them out on it too. I remember, I think it was when Margaret Thatcher died, the Sex Pistols, Johnny Rotten, who for, at the height of Thatcher and Thatcherism, the Sex Pistols were doing their thing and Johnny Rotten was doing their thing, and they were arch nemesis in so many ways. And when she died, he paid respects and he hammered people who said horrible things about her. And it's just, we've lost this art of subtly being able to be human to one another. Hey, when it comes to costly repairs for your car, you don't want to pay them. You don't. Let's be real. You take care of your car. You keep your car longer. We're keeping our car way longer because they're just better. I've got a car that's long in the tooth. And let me tell you something. I love my car. I do. I love it. I take care of it. But the what-if scenario may come one day when I need backup, and that's where CarShield comes in. With CarShield, I get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while my car's in the shop. And that shop is the shop I choose, which is awesome. They get them paid directly. You can take it to the dealership. You pay a small deductible and away they go. $2 billion in claims is what CarShield's administrators have paid out. They are ready right now to help you. Don't get caught in the what-if scenario. Get yourself CarShield right now. The extended vehicle protection is the ultimate in protecting your car for cover repairs. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. Save you 10%. CarShield.com. CarShield.com will also get you what you need. And make sure you use code Benson to save yourself 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Check check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Yeah, we got a new boycott. This time, apparently, I'm supposed to be boycotting Jimmy John's. Now, photos have surfaced that have been. Here's the thing about the boycotts and the stupidity of them. It's like you don't know when stuff's going to go viral. So today we're boycotting Jimmy John's, apparently, and by we I mean I don't think I've only eaten at Jimmy John's once, twice. Not that I didn't like it. I just don't eat there. It's never. I've never done it. But we're boycotting Jimmy John's because apparently, well, he is a big hunter. And he's a big game hunter, and he's a big fisherman. And pictures that have been out there for eons, somebody's decided, now this is what we're going to boycott. And there you go. There's no rhyme or reason. Nothing new's come out. And I'm just amazed. Oh, my God. It's like, God, how much can you boycott? When does boycotting get personal? Meaning, when do you start? Well, I guess it's already begun, hasn't it? Right? Like, how many people out there have had people that you thought were friends who've now boycotted you because of your political beliefs, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, the right or left, right? How many people out there? I'm sure a ton of you, right? Boycotted family members, But now, are we going to get to the point where it's like, well, I can't eat because I saw the chef wear a MAGA hat once, so I can't eat his food or her food? This is so stupid. My God. This is where you need to have perspective in life. Is your life everything political? And do you really say you're an open-minded individual? So this week was Dancing with the Stars we boycotted. Now it's Jimmy John's. That's a good one right there. For something that was posted years ago. It's Retro Rage 2.0. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In this video, several points were made. So you voting for this video means that you want a world where we're all treated equally under the law. Regardless of who we love, regardless of how we identify, at the end of this video, there is a petition for the Equality Act. Basically just says we all deserve equal rights under the law. It now has 500,000 signatures, which is 5 times the amount that it would need to warrant a response from the White House.
By the way, the White House did respond to good friend Taylor Swift there, saying, look, equality, absolutely, but we didn't like some of the stuff in the bill. And, it's all woke. It's all about being woke. Woke. But I'm all about, you know what? Give it a try. Case in point, last week, Carly Lloyd, she won the World Cup of the U.S. Women's National Team a little over a month ago. They're on their Champions Tour right now where they're going out and celebrating. Everybody's cheering them on. She was at a joint practice last week with the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Ertz plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. His wife was also on the U.S. Women's National Team, Julie. And her husband, Carly Lloyd, and she knows the special teams coach for Baltimore. So it was a joint practice between the Ravens and the Eagles. And she brought her boots. They had a tour. They were having fun. And she had a chance to kick. And kick she did, including hitting a 55-yarder. 55 yards, which is nothing to laugh at. It is big, 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 big. And everybody's seen it. It's gone viral. And she was on with Grant Wall talking about that.
I was casually just, wanting to bang in a few field goals.
Yes, banging.
Because I'm a competitor, and we just enjoyed the day. And I brought my boots, so afterwards I could hit a few field goals. And I started at 25 yards, and I just kept moving back and was aiming for Elliott and Tucker's 61-yarder record. So I attempted a 57, had the length, but it didn't go in between the small goalposts or the field goal posts on this one. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely blew up.
Yeah, it did blow up. And here's the thing: what she was doing is she was kicking into. So if you go out and you see these practices, whether it's big time college or the pros, they'll have the regular goalpost, and then they'll have tiny small goalposts. That's to work on their accuracy. And she hit the 55-yarder straight down the middle of that one. And it had some leg, too. It could have gone further.
I love how you begin this by just going, I was just casually doing a 55-yard. Now, here's a question for you, Carly, because many of us are discussing this now. Are you getting any interest from NFL teams? Has anyone come to you and approached you about it? Because, obviously, we know about your feet and what you can do on the soccer field. And we've seen you do, field goals before. But to me, this was so impressive. I'm wondering if you're getting any phone calls to do a side gig.
So, put out to her by one of the soccer reporters. Anybody calling you? Anybody sniffing around? Look, let me tell you about being a kicker. There's a guy currently in the NFL. There's several guys in the NFL who've never kicked football in college or high school. They were rugby players or they were Aussie rules players. And one guy is currently on a roster who did none of those things. But he enjoyed kicking and having fun, and he went viral, and somebody's like, we got to bring that guy in. So they asked her, straight out, anybody contacted you?
There's been some interesting chatter about it. I think anything is possible. It's been really interesting because for me, I'm just an athlete. I'm a competitor, but for so many other people, I think, they're starting to think, will there ever be a female in the NFL at some point?
Yeah, they're asking that question. And obviously the answer would be, if there is going to be one, and we've seen it in college and in high school and stuff, it's most likely going to be a punter or a kicker. So why not?
And I think we're kind of at that crossroads as far as equality and just women empowerment. So you're kind of.
She's trying not to say it here. Well, I'm going to go on this road. That's the long road, but has anybody contacted you, Carly?
Being in the crosshairs of that. And I've definitely got some inquiries. I've definitely got some people talking. Anything's possible, but right now I'm strictly a soccer player, and we'll see what the future holds.
Well, one team apparently did offer her a spot in Thursday night's game. Hey, come kick for us. And kicking, by the way, there's a lot to learn, right? There's a process. She got to run up to the ball. There's just certain little nuances with the kicking thing that she would have to learn, including one of those things where you actually start running towards something that's not actually there. It's not like hike, snap, put the ball down, you start your run. But those things can all be taught. And she's an athlete. It's not a big deal. I think she should have done it. I know the tour is important, but in this day and age of equality and what you're fighting for, the opportunity there is huge. Because the reality is this. You guys aren't the news you were 4, 6, 8 weeks ago. You strike while the iron's hot. And this is an opportunity for you to go, yeah, you know what? If somebody wants to dress me out in a game, in an NFL, I'm going to take the opportunity to do it. Hell yeah. I would have if I was her. And if I was the United States Soccer Federation and I was the manager of the team, right, I would have said, you got to take this. Because in this fight for equality, in this fight for all of these things, this is the opportunity for you to get out there and to do something that's huge. And don't be surprised if at some point in time over the next month or two, because kicking is one of those things. You're literally only as good as your last kick. And so for those of you who have no idea how it works is, even when you're signed and you're a kicker, and you may be as accurate as the day is long, and you may not miss a kick all year, right? And you could be 12 weeks into the season. You know what happens on Monday, Tuesday? They bring in 2-3 kickers every week. There's 2-3 kickers revolving around. Because A, you're as good as your last kick, and B, there's always that potential of some sort of injury or something like that. But there's always a competition at that. So, yeah, I think she'll have a chance. Damn Skippy. And if I was her, I'd take it. I would. I said as much as it's important it is for her to maybe potentially say goodbye and kind of a swan song. She's a little bit older than the rest of a lot of the girls on the team, and she may not be at the next World Cup, or she'll probably get to the next Olympics. But I would have took this opportunity because that's a groundbreaking. Right? That is a groundbreaking opportunity. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So this took place the other day. It's in Oklahoma. And you've got a news anchors who are watching footage at a zoo of a gorilla. And you've got this blonde lady, Alex Hewson, and her co-anchor, who happens to be black, a male. And they're watching this footage of a gorilla who has like a camera or something. It's just one of those things that you do. It's like it's a morning AM thing. And you sat here and you listened to this and you're like, oh, did that happen?
Okay, you have to see this. This is Finn. We're about to show. Oh my goodness, take a look at him. He's a resident of the Oklahoma City Zoo. And this week, the zoo's 8th caretaker took over their Instagram, and we are all loving that they did. And as you can see, Finn was fascinated.
Definitely ready for his close-up.
Kind of looks like you. What do you see the picture?
It kind of does, actually, yeah.
Kind of looks like you. So she says that to her black co-host. He kind of looks like you. And she probably, the minute it came out of her mouth, she probably thought, sweet Jesus, what have I done? Well, today she took to the airwaves to apologize.
I'm here this morning because I want to apologize. The only time co-anchor Jason, but to our entire community. I said something yesterday that was inconsiderate, it was inappropriate, and I hurt people. And I want you to know I understand how much I hurt you out there and how much I hurt you. I love you so much, and you have been one of my best friends for the past year and a half, and I would never do anything on purpose to hurt you. And I love our community, and I want you all to know, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize for what I said. I know it was wrong, and I am so sorry.
Yeah, interesting, right? Because we live in a world where we no longer want you punished. Right? There's no longer, we're going to suspend you for a week or two. You apologize. There's no mea culpa. It's, let's see how contrite you are, which will decide some of your punishment, but we're also going to be able to brand you with whatever we want to call you. And there's a good chance we will make sure that you never work ever again, if at all possible. I don't know her. That sounded pretty contrite. That sounded like she was devastated by what she did. Like she hurt somebody. And she did.
Oh, Alex, thank you very much. And I do accept your apology, and I do appreciate your apology. I want to let everybody out there know that Alex is one of my best friends. I mean, we do what we do here, and it's not as if we see each other here and then we leave and we go home. We talk every day, or almost every other day. I've told you things. I've shared things with you as a friend, and I do appreciate you, and I do love you.
So that's how his answer to her apology started, and he wasn't finished.
All that being said, and Alex will be the first to admit this to you, what she said yesterday was wrong. It cut deep for me, and it cut deep for a lot of you in the community, I've heard the phone calls and I've heard the Facebook messages as well. And I guess coming out of this, I want this to be a teachable moment. And that lesson here is that words matter. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, they do. They do matter in some ways. And also context matters. And I think we forgot all of that. I think she's sorry. That's her friend. Whether or not she's going to be fired over that, I don't know. I mean, there's always that possibility in this day and age. I think she said, and I, by the sounds of him, I don't think he wants her fired, right? I don't think he did. If you see the video, he was like, "Oh my, I can't believe you just said that." And yeah, it was like, whoa. But I also look back and I think now in our present state, is she banished forever? Is that the way things work? Should she never be able to work again? Can we not accept apologies? Can we no longer put context to things? That it was something she said that I'm sure the minute it came out of her mouth, she wanted to put it back in. I don't know. But man, it was, I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? You said that? But she sounded like she was genuinely sorry. But now what? If you're there at station, what do you do? What do you do if you're that station? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It's President Trump, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden. Are they too old to be president? Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can text me as well, 323-538-2423. A lot of people think they are. More than half of Americans believe they're too old to be president. I think 48 is about the wheelhouse, the perfect area, age-wise, of being president. What do you think? Hey, when it comes to costly repairs, let me tell you something. You need options. Option one, you go get a new car. You spend thousands of dollars getting your car fixed when something goes wrong with your transmission. Or door number 3, ding, 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 Car Shield. Car Shield's amazing. They're going to make it easier than ever before to take care of your cover repair. You get 24/7 roadside assistance. You get to choose the shop your car gets taken to. Choose the dealership if you want. They'll get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. And here's the other thing. While your car's being fixed, maybe it takes 3 days. They're going to get you a rental car for free. It is incredible. Maybe your car's got 100,000 miles on it. Don't worry about it. That's what Car Shield's there for. From 5,000 to 150,000 miles, guess what? They will take care of you. $2 billion in claims. That's what they've paid out. They're ready to help you. Call them today. 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson, saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use that code Benson to save you 10%. They're going to point out all the things you need. Hey, you know what? You're going to want this. You're going to want this. You may not need this. They got any plan for you in the car you have. Call them today. 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Last week, the manager of the Dairy Queen in Greenwood, South Carolina, told the local paper he'd been informed by a corporate inspector that someone had lodged a complaint about human meat being inside a DQ burger. Now, the FBI was at the Dairy Queen recently, but it was inspecting a money laundering case. It had nothing to do with cannibalism. Still, Twitter ran with it. The rumors were flying. When he was asked about it, the Greenwood coroner said it was the first time it had ever come up. And there's little to no chance of that ever being able to happen. The burgers made of beef at that Dairy Queen are fine.
Oh, my God. What is up with, like, the burger wars, the chicken wars, right? Popeyes, this, that, and the... I mean, so Dairy Queen, you think that there's human meat in there? I don't know if you guys remember a movie came out in the 80s. I think it starred Rory Calhoun. It was called Motel Hell. It was an awful, like, super B... But it was hilarious. And, God, the fact that I even remember that. But it was about world-famous sausages that were made from human meat. And it was so bad. So Wolfman Jack was in it. Oh, my God. Cliff from Cheers. I forgot his name, but he was in it as well. It was bad. So that's what you think. You think Dairy Queen has somebody lodged that complaint. Somebody probably did. They probably thought that. You'd be surprised at what people think. I'm always amazed at what people will say stuff to me. They'll send me stuff, and I think, where do you get this? Screw the dark web. Where are you getting this on the regular web? I'm just curious. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Poll question today. It's about age. It's Trump, Sanders, Biden, Warren. Are they too old to be president? 19% of you say yes. 26 say, nah, they're not. 55% of you are kind of where I'm at. Depends on the health and the well-being. Is your mind all there? Are you sharp? Can you keep up with said job? Then no, as long as you can continue to motor, I got zero problems with that, right? But, I mean, there are some questions out there with some of the candidates that I understand why people are asking that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Your useless fact of the day. Like to do these things. Rob Peter to pay Paul. Where did that come from? Well, one of the origins that many people think it came from was back in the 1500s when St. Peter's, Westminster, was ordered, essentially, to pay for St. Paul's Cathedral. They were robbing Peter to pay for Paul. Have a great rest of your day and have a taco. Night, night, Jack.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I only got two. All right, first impression's kind of dumb, but I like it. This is my impression. You ready? This is my impression of the founding fathers of America when the Constitution was being written. You ready? Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution. They're trying to get some sleep.
I love Chappelle. I do. I love Chappelle. Always have. Right? Always have. We live in this world now where it is so amazing how you can like something on Facebook, even on accident, or Twitter, retweet something. You can do certain things and you will pay a price for it. People are sick and tired of it. People on the right, people on the left. By the way, most Democrats, I'm not talking about uber progressives, they live in a world of identity politics and that everything is defined based on the color of your skin, what you identify as, whatever it is. I'm talking about just run-of-the-mill, everyday Democrats going to work, union members, whatever it is. They're sick and tired of walking on eggshells. So last night, flipping around and prepping for the show today, and I read this thing from Vice. You can definitely skip Dave Chappelle's new Netflix special, Sticks and Stones. The comedian doubles down on misogyny and transphobia in both the special and the hidden bonus scenes. What? The special takes the comic's anti-wokeness shtick to a new level. The whole thing is repetitive and exhausting enough that it's a slog to even make it through the Q&As. Right? And then it doubles down on all kinds of stuff that he says about who hates him the most, which I think is so funny. I think it's so funny. He said, Chappelle talks about who hates him, right? And he talks about trans people, how much they hate him, right? How mad they are at him, right? And he said, he asked, he does a Q&A on this one. He says this time the jokes include asking audience how funny it would be if he was actually a Chinese person. So he's talking about whether or not he could be trans global, if you will. And then he does as a racist impression of a Chinese person. Well, why is it a racist impression of a Chinese? Well, because why? Because that's how somebody would talk, right? There's probably not a lot of black or white Chinese people out there. And that's the accent. If somebody in China was a comic, and they were doing an accent of an American, right? We don't know what kind of, just an American. People will be like, would you be outraged? No, hell no, you wouldn't be outraged, right? It's like, it is what it is. But it's so funny, right? Because of the wokeness. And here we are in this politically correct woke world. We're going to come hard. We're going to do all of these things. We're going to condemn you for stuff. And the beauty of what he does, and like a lot of other comics out there, he doesn't care. He doesn't. He does him. And I think a lot of these people who write stuff like this on Vice and elsewhere are flabbergasted, if you will, that people would actually go and like stuff like this. You want to know why? Because we actually give a rat's ass about other people. Not because of we're checking the boxes of how diverse our friends are or our acquaintances are, but because we actually care about who they are. And if we care about who they are, we can laugh at each other. We can have fun with the stereotypes. And at the same time, we can actually get to know somebody based on what's inside, not all of the other crap that so many people want. He continues.
I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. Duh. Hey, duh. If you do anything wrong in your life, duh, and I find out about it, I'm going to try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all is the worst I've ever tried to entertain in my life.
I love it. What is he saying? Essentially, you can't do anything. Can't say anything. They're coming for you. Whoever they are, they're coming for you. Everybody's looking for that misstep in your life. That tweet you thought was funny in your head, but you put it out there and you didn't think anything of it. And lo and behold, 3, 4, 5 years later, what? You're condemned. You're condemned. And the thing about comics that's great is comics don't care, right? They've spent their life being on stage, going through the toughest thing in the world, which is to stand up in front of people and to try to make them laugh. You ask any entertainer, getting up and singing's not hard comparatively to this. But I love it. And he's right. There's a reason comedy is exploding, because people want to go to comedy clubs and they want to walk in a place where, hey, you know what? We're here to have fun. We're not here to judge anybody. We're here to goof around, to have fun, and to laugh. We are. And to turn around and walk out the door. But now people are going to clubs, and what are they trying to do? They're trying to judge everything. It's so funny. You know, people are talking about, well, you know, you should, if you laugh at that, does that mean that you believe in that? Well, is that any different that if Bill Maher says something about David Koch dying and hoping the end of his life was painful, that you're clapping because you enjoy cancer and you hope people who don't have your belief die a horrible pain death? Maybe. So stupid. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Yesterday, massive deal in Oklahoma with Johnson & Johnson. $572 million because of the opioid crisis. Get ready for this. This is insane. Since 2000, in Oklahoma alone, 6,000 deaths that they can attribute. 326 million pills were dispensed in 2015 alone. That's 110 per person. Is that insane? That is insane. 18 million prescriptions between 2015 and 2018 in Oklahoma. And listen to this. This is today on Morning Joe. Somebody was asking their AG, Mike Hunter, about something that was said inside the trial about pseudo diagnose. It is shocking.
Perhaps the most astonishing and saddest sentence in the entire opinion by the judge is essentially this one. It's that the defendants apparently used a phrase called pseudo addiction, and pseudo means something that is essentially false. to convince doctors that patients who exhibited signs of addiction were not suffering from addiction, but instead were suffering from undertreatment of their pain. And the fix for that was more opiates. Candidly, I think this should be the leading line in every interview you give. This is the saddest sentence in the entire opinion.
Yeah. So you have a pseudo addiction to opioids. We're pushing this on the doctors, right? The doctors are gladly prescribing them. And if somebody comes in and is worried about that, it's because they're not dealing with their pain. So they have a pseudo addiction and they're worried. Don't worry. Just continue to do what you do. That's insane. That's insane. And it is nuts. And I'm telling you guys right now, we could see large pharmaceutical companies that Johnson & Johnson, many others, potentially looking at a world where they're going to go bankrupt because of the amount of lawsuits. This is going to be in courts for such a long time. And now Oklahoma has given a roadmap to other states that are dealing with this same problem on how to go about and win. The settlements are going to be huge. Johnson & Johnson is appealing this, and this is probably going to take, they say, a couple of years before they get through this. But eventually, they're probably going to have to pony up. 2 other companies have already done that and settled. Johnson & Johnson, I think, will follow. And then the question was asked to A.G. Hunter, what about the money when it comes in? What are you guys going to do with it?
Well, most of the money will be principally dedicated to dealing with counseling, rehabilitation, and treatment for, again, what we estimate is around 100,000 Oklahomans who, as a result of this overprescribing, have become addicted to opioids in many different forms. There's also money that will be made available for education and prevention and law enforcement. So the judge has done a good job in ensuring that we're dealing with, from A to Z, all the different ways that we need to, again, abate the epidemic in Oklahoma.
We'll see. We will see. We'll see if that takes place or not. It's going to be very interesting to see what can be done in some of these states where they're ravaged. They say right now about 100,000 people in Oklahoma have some sort of addiction to prescribed drugs and opioids. That's frightening. That is absolutely frightening. We are a consumer-based nation, and we consume the hell out of these things. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hope you're doing well. There's a new study out, which I find very interesting, about the presidents and their age. So the people running for president and the president himself, are they too old? Half of Americans feel Trump, Biden, and Sanders are too old. I might put Elizabeth Warren. People don't know she's 70 to be president. They say the ideal age is 48. So what do you think? Are they too old? 20% right now say yes. 25% say no. And 55% says depend on the health, meaning your mind, if you're sharp. I mean, there are people that are in their 50s who struggle with certain things. And Biden, I know, is feeling a lot of this stuff right now as people are questioning whether or not he's all there. And then there are people that are in their 70s and 80s, and they look like they've got it going on, and they look to be just motoring along and doing stuff. And Biden he was answering questions about this.
I just spoke at Dartmouth on health care at the medical school, or not, I guess I wasn't actually on the campus, but the people from the medical school were at there. I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. I'm not sure whether it was a medical school or where the hell I spoke, but it was on the campus. It was on the campus, and the dean of all of that.
People are asking questions, right? Because he feels a little discombobulated. But if you go back and look at him through his years, it kind of feels like it's the same old same, because he was always kind of that way. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. MyPillow is amazing. They've been incredible. You guys have been buying MyPillows, and it's just great the way you support the show. Well, guess what? Mike Lindell is doing something amazing for everybody out there. Go to MyPillow.com and take advantage of the great discounts that are out there and available. And these discounts have never been offered before. You just click on the radio listener special, and you're going to save up to 50% on MyPillows, mattress toppers, bed sheets, and so much more. It is incredible. You can call 800-983-4975 also to receive the save savings. Make sure you use code Benson in everything you do there. Now, here's the big thing. They've got this huge body pillow. Normally it's $90. right now, $29.99 with promo code Benson. 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special. Use the promo code Benson or call 800-983-4975. You're going to save up to 50%, including that body pillow for $29.99. Enter promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for that.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
So I just text in and say, I don't agree with you, Chad. Comedy can be weaponized. People need to just relax, take a deep breath. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh. It is, right? It is. It's okay to laugh, right? I don't think Dave Chappelle is an evil human being, right? Or Bill Burr. Or it's okay to go out and to laugh and to be humble and laugh at yourself, right? It is okay. And the more that we can do that, you want to find people that are well-adjusted. You want to find people that are, if you're willing to be humble and to be able to laugh at yourself, to me, that's one of the biggest strengths out there. And all too often anymore, we take everything so serious. And all too often, too, right? It's people that aren't, quote unquote, the butt of the joke, that stand up for other people, and other people are looking at you. You need to fight my battles for me. It's okay. We can laugh. We can have fun. You can make fun of me all day. I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. Right? Because I know me. But for whatever reason, we've lost our sense of humor, which founding fathers should have saw this coming. We've lost our sense of humor. I don't know how we get it back. I don't. Somebody just texted in and says, Chad, with opioids and what's going on in Oklahoma and the $572 million judgment, and is this going to make prescriptions more expensive? Yeah, and here's the other thing. From what I hear, certain companies are saying, well, we're not going to, in certain states, you're not going to have a chance to get certain drugs anymore. So here's the problem with the addiction of opioids is there is also the other side of it where it is needed. It is a pain relief. It does actually work. It's been abused. It's been overprescribed. But at the same time, it does work and it is needed. Now, I've said all along, in the battle of the addiction side of things, we need to figure out how we go and address pain management in this country. We need to look everywhere. We need to look globally, right? We need to be all over the world looking what's the best way to deal with pain management. Because the better we can deal with pain management, the less that there's going to be stuff like this out there. In saying that, right, we want something quick, right? We do. We want something quick. We want the quick fix. We want the pill that's going to, make it so the pain goes away. We want the 3-minute abs. We want fast. And that's what opioid have given us. The opportunity to have, get rid of this pain. Boom. The dark side was, and continues to be, the addiction side. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So, America, are we still great? We're going to talk about that because the New York Times in early July did a 5-minute thing about America, and somebody's answered back because like everything else in this world, a lot of times people only want to give their score, not the entire score. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
The Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
My two political heroes were Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy. My senior semester, they were both shot and killed. Imagine what would have happened if, God forbid, Barack Obama had been assassinated after becoming the de facto nominee. What would have happened in America?
What are you talking about? The Democrats just go, can we hide him till that night? Is that possible? Is it possible to hide him? You can't hide Biden, right? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. He is like doing everything. So he's talking about the assassination of, like, what if the assassination of Obama happened? What if? Would you guys look to me? Would I have to be the guy? I probably would have. I mean, I would have had to do it. I didn't want to, but I had to. Oh, my goodness me. They have till Wednesday to qualify for the next round of debates. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody can squeak over the line. Speaking of bad politicians, Jean Kramer is her name. Nobody gets worse than this lady. From Marysville, Michigan, I bring you Jean Kramer.
My suggestion, recommendation, keep Marysville a white community as much as possible. White, seriously, in other words, no foreign-born, no foreign people because of what, how can I say, in our past, what we have experienced, it's better to have it simply American-born, put it that way.
Okay, we'll put it that way. Now, she's running to be on city council. She is amazing. By the way, her wig is so amazing, it should come with a chin strap. But she threw it out there, right? Like, and to listen to the people like, oh, sweet, good God, like little Grandma Guns. What are you saying? What are you saying?
My son-in-law is a black man, and I have biracial grandchildren. And I take this very, very personally, what you've said, and I know that there's nothing I can say that's going to change your mind. But we all have the same. We just need to have more kindness. That's it.
Yeah, that's the lady who is currently on city council, who's also running for re-election. Her father was from Syria. The city council place itself, the building, is actually named after her father. And just the gasp. But they're not done there. There's more. There's more.
Checking the calendar here and making sure it's still 2019. Yeah, I thought we covered civil rights about 50 years ago. I know, I mean, we're one nation under God, and I live that.
Just listen to what she said again. I mean,
my suggestion, recommendation, keep Marysville a white community as much as possible.
Now, people were flabbergasted. You can't believe this. So here's Marysville, Michigan, right? Predominantly white anyways, right? Grandma Gums running there, Jean Kramer, for city council. She's going to keep it white again, make America white again. Right? She's there. First thing I did when I saw her, I thought, oh, my God, that wig is amazing. Like, you're fooling nobody. You're not very nice, Chad. So she wants to keep it white. So the press went to her afterwards at her house, right? So just clarify some of the things that you said. And, boy, did she dig a bigger hole.
Well, we like Marysville the way it is.
She likes Marysville the way it is.
But as far as having a black couple moving in, we have no problem with that.
No problem with the black couple. All right, so are you guys writing this down? So Marysville's fine the way it is. No problem with the black couple. But
where it's wrong is when you have a white woman and a black husband, a white wife and a black husband together. That's wrong. And vice versa.
Vice versa. So it's wrong. Don't do that. Are we good with that? You guys writing that down? All right, we're keeping Marysville white again, But if a black couple want to move in, we're okay with that, right? This is according to Miss Jean Kramer.
Well, and why is that?
It's simple. It's simply against the Bible.
I go to church, not seeing that verse. I'm looking. Like I went through it yesterday. Is that church yesterday? We're doing a big series on relationships. I did not see that part of the relationship thing in there where it's like, hey, black people hang out with black people, Hispanic people hang out with Hispanic people, Latin people. I mean, Asians over here, the whites, you guys are over there. But, well, hold on a second. You guys are French. You French stay over there. I didn't see it. I'm just saying, I didn't see that.
Like I was telling her, God created Adam and Eve. Same kind, same race all around. And that's how he wants that. He's our example right there.
Oh, okay. So that's it. So that's just clarify the world's worst politician, right? With the sweetest wig. I'm telling you guys, just check out the wig. It's like, I said it, chin strap. Like it's one of those things where you turn really fast and the wig may stay there. Oh, Chad, you're a jerk. She's not done.
Well, just that, it's a nice city the way it is. We have
meaning white.
If black people, if a black couple wants.
Now she said if black people, but she wants to. It's a reminder. It's better be a black couple, right? Because we don't want any of those unruly black dudes coming into our neighborhood. You know what I'm talking about?
If a black couple wants to move in, fine. But to have the mixed marriage, no.
She's just the worst person. Oh, my God. Running for council, though. There you go. She'll probably get votes, too. That's what's sad. That is absolutely the sad thing. She'll probably get some votes. She's a misguided woman who probably was brought up in an awful, horrible way. Remember, people aren't born racist. They're not born in certain ways. They're taught these things, right? It's like you're not you're not born terrified of certain things or there's this fear of certain things. It just doesn't happen. I mean, my littles are not afraid of any of my giant lizards or the snakes, but I know there are people out there terrified of those things, right? And why is that? Because other people are afraid of them. And you get fear, and then you let it sink in. And then she was taught this, probably by her father or her mother, and it's awful, and it's stuck in there. And then she's redefining the Bible. It's like, oh, yeah, I was looking at the Bible the other day, and in Extra Whitey, verse 5, in Caucasian, it says, it doesn't say that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So a politician is running to be governor of Louisiana, I believe it is. And he's got a commercial out. And the end of the commercial is very interesting. I'll let you take a listen to the whole thing. He's just, he's fun.
Government is too. I'm Ralph Abraham.
Hello,
I'm
Ralph.
running for governor. And here's the truth. Life begins at conception. Government is too big. Our taxes are too high, and our car insurance is too expensive.
Well, I'll agree with the car insurance thing. Or we can all go with that one.
President Trump is doing a great job.
It's debatable. Some stuff.
Facts matter more than feelings.
True.
The Second Amendment is self-explanatory.
It is.
And as a doctor, I can assure you there are only two genders.
What? Let's hear that again.
And as a doctor, I can assure you there are only two genders.
I posted something over the weekend. And that caused the stir. It was, first of all, it's so easy to get people to rile up over something, but the whole gender thing is one of those ones. So I posted some over the weekend about genders, and there's a shirt out there. So there's this shirt that says, it was like more than two genders. It says there are more than two genders, and it's got a rainbow thing. And then next to it, it says fit type, men and woman. And then people go into, well, you just don't understand. You just not getting. I get it. So this is MSNBC's Chris Jansing talking about this.
It is the question that some Republicans have been asking in the age of Donald Trump, and increasingly, it seems the answer might be to make incendiary comments about women and members of the LGBTQ community. In Louisiana, the Republican candidate for governor, Ralph Abraham, is out with a new TV ad this week, making incendiary comments about gender.
First of all, I don't know if it's incendiary. I don't think he said anything horrible about gender.
Doctor, I can assure you there are only two genders.
Incendiary comments about gender.
There are only two genders.
Now, you can identify with certain things, right? But if from the scientific standpoint, they're essentially saying, look, it's man or woman, scientifically. Science. Now, if you want to identify with whatever it is you want. I don't care if you want to be Batman. That's up to you. If you want to be trans species, you come to me one day and say, hey, guess what? I'm now a cat. I'm like, great. What do you want to call you, Mr. Buttons? That's fine. Right? And then that's where it ends. Right? I don't want a long explanation. If you identify as a man or a woman or whatever it is, I will give you the respect there. And we'll go from there. But at some point in time, if you have to explain it to me on numerous occasions why one day you're this, the next day you're that, I don't want to know. Right? There shouldn't be any kind of situation where you're bringing out charts and boards and you're pointing to here and this and then because of this and because of that and then no. But incendiary? Really? Is that an incendiary thing? There are two genders. I'm a doctor. How would you know? Are you even really a doctor? Well, you are, but still. It's incendiary. Idiots. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Would you like to know if in the next 5 to 10 years you may die? Simple blood test by a company out of Europe with about 83% accuracy will show you whether or not you are on a path to have some sort of issue. Could be heart attack, could be cancer, could be any of those things. And a good portion of this has very little to do with your lifestyle. Not that that's not a factor, but more in a lot of ways to do with your genetics. 28% say, yeah, I'd do that. 44% say no thanks. 28% said they would, but only if they could change it. Take the poll at Chad Benson Show. You can text me as well. Hey, a few things in life can change your outlook on the day. Like, I don't know, your car going south, right? Oh, yeah, that's a ruiner. That's a day ruiner. Yeah, something goes wrong. Check engine light comes on. You're like, uh-oh, this is going to call. I don't have any warranty. I got nothing. I like my car. I took care of it. So Car Shield comes in. That's why I have it. That's why you should get it. Because they make the entire process of fixing your car for a cover repair so easy. Get your favorite mechanic, right? Whichever one you choose. Take it to the dealership if you want. It's your choice. You pay a small deductible. They get them paid directly. You get 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. It is amazing. It is easy. And I'm telling you guys right now, my friends, my family, they've used it. And they tell me, the thing that's so incredible is the rental car. Because you don't know. Sometimes your car's in the shop 3, 4, 5 days. And having that opportunity to have a rental car you don't have to pay for is incredible. But also, they paid a small deductible. Next thing you know, they got them paid directly. And away it went. We're keeping our cars longer. We're taking better care of our cars. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't protect ourselves. That's where Car Shield comes in. If your car has 5,000 to 150,000 miles on it, it doesn't mean you have to pay high repair bills. Get Car Shield. Do what I did. Simple and easy. Call 800-CAR-6000. That's 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson, saves you 10%, or check out everything they have. Go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Use my code. It'll save you 10%. Carshield.com. Code Benson. Carshield.com. Code Benson. Deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
So who's most at risk when there's an economic downturn? I did some research on this, and it turns out young college graduates. They're the last in and first out during recessions. During the Great Recession, the unemployment rate for workers aged 20 to 24 with a bachelor's degree rose from 5.4% in 2007 to 8.5% in 2009.
The Great Recession! You know, a majority of Americans were still working, right? Like 80+% of Americans still had jobs. Things were tight. Things definitely slowed down. Some people had to take some pay cuts here or there or forego a few things. But we were still working. And yeah, you know what? Usually in situations, last in is first out, depending on certain things. You and I both know this, right? Companies will look to cut money. And if you're not a big breadwinner, a big money earner, and you've got a big salary, you will probably be the first to go, even if the other person is just new and less experienced.
2009, but it was much lower for older college graduates with the same education during the financial crisis. It went from 2.2% in 2007 to 5.2% in 2009. And the reason why young college graduates are so vulnerable to economic shock during recessions is because they don't have the types of long-lasting relationships with employers that older college graduates have. Right. So when they're thinking and they're looking at the list of employees they have, who they're going to cut, fortunately, they go after people who are very young.
No, not always true. Sometimes. But if you're making big money and I can get this person over here to do it for half the price, now maybe they may screw up along the way, but it's not going to be detrimental. Now, if you are a money maker, you're a big salesperson, and they rely on you for a good portion of the sales. What is it? 20% of the salespeople will do 80% of the sales. If you're one of those, you're not going anywhere. They'll get rid of somebody else. They will. But companies are always looking, right? How can they protect themselves? What can they do? In times are tough. And how many times, too, and this is something I've talked to people about on more than a few occasions, is the Great Recession was here, then it wasn't here, and maybe there was 3 people in your department. They took it down to 2 people. Things got good, and nobody got a raise, and they never replaced that other person. And you didn't get half of that other person's salary, and the other half went to the other person. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. And if you're a Twitter, feel free to tweet at me. I love hearing from every single one of you. Check it out as well on the old Instagram. And again, it is an International Dogs Day or whatever. So take your dog. Be good. Here's your useless fact of the day. John Hancock was the only person who signed on July 4th, 1776. Everybody else signed August 2nd. Also, King George III wrote in his diary, nothing of significance happened on this day. I beg to differ, King. I beg to differ. Have a great rest of your night as always. Night-night, Jack. Happy birthday, Charlie.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The administration is dealing with this historical influx of migrants, and it has dipped slightly in the past couple of weeks, but we're still looking at historic highs, and they want to not encourage people to come. And what the Trump administration and conservatives have been saying for a long time now is that people know that if they come with children, that these restrictions placed by the court are in place, and they can't hold them for very long.
That's right, and that's why now I'm going to change it up a little bit. That's right. Administration has announced they're going to do something a little bit different. We'll see how this plays itself out. Lawsuits, get ready. 60 days before this thing can even go into effect. But get ready for the lawsuits. And the new situation essentially is this. You show up, you've got kids, you're going to be detained, and you guys will be kept together, but it will be indefinite until your immigration status is essentially sorted out. So before 20 days, that's the Flores rule. It's been around for a very long time. And the rule is after 20 days, you can no longer hold minors. New rule is we're going to hold everybody together in a facility until we sort it out. And this isn't about people that are here now. This is about the potential of this getting down south of the border, right? Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and even in parts of Mexico where people are still coming and saying essentially, if you come here, this is what's going to happen. Is it going to work? I don't know. Will it ever go into effect? Couldn't tell you. Why is that? Pretty simple. It's called lawsuits because there's going to be plenty of lawsuits.
The driving factor for this crisis is weakness in our legal framework for immigration. Human smugglers advertise, and intending migrants know well, that even if they cross the border illegally, arriving at our border with a child has meant that they will be released into the United States to wait for court proceedings that could take 5 years or more.
Yeah, 5 years or more. So what happens in those 5 years? Well, you build a life here. Maybe you have a family here. You get married. Maybe you have another child here. You do all of these things while awaiting adjudication. And then when it comes, again, 90% of people who apply for asylum here aren't going to get asylum. Then what? So now the whole thing is we're going to keep you in custody while we go through the entire process. Could it take 3 months? Could it take 3 years? I don't know. Are you willing to take that risk in coming here?
The new rule establishes a high national standard for care of children and families in custody, allows the government to keep families together for fair and expeditious immigration proceedings, restores integrity to our immigration system, and eliminates the incentive for children to be used or exploited to enter the United States.
So now the other side of it is, this is Madhu Grenwall. That right there was Kevin McAleenan talking about. The other side of this is okay, so you're going to put these kids in facilities. What are these facilities going to be like? You know, that's the worrisome side of it. You could say high standards. And he talked about all kinds of stuff.
There's a large community living room that has big screen television, cushioned couches and lounge chairs, a gaming area, and a separate library that contains books, other television sets, video games, and board games.
Ooh, that sounds great. You know, it's a campus-like atmosphere. Other people are going to come out and say, no, you shouldn't be doing any of this.
The government shouldn't be jailing kids and certainly shouldn't be trying to put children in jail for longer.
That is Madhu Grenwall right there talking about what should or shouldn't happen. You shouldn't jail kids. It goes back to this entire thing that we've talked about is we have and she's from the ACLU. We have a loophole that is being exploited. Our kindness now is being essentially taken advantage of. And where do we go at this point in time? Everybody wants to talk about the things we shouldn't do. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that there are rules in place, that we have a sovereign land, that we have a border, that there are ways of going about doing things. Nobody wants to talk about those things, and that people have found that loophole and have exploited it on us.
They have long asserted that dismantling Flores is the only way to, quote unquote, deal with the crisis at the border. Of course, we challenge that. Authorizing an expansion of family detention and increasing the detention of children is not the way you address humanitarian concerns at the border.
No, maybe not. Here's the problem. All of the ways we've talked about that can be done with any right-mind individual on both sides of the aisle who sit down and say, all right, here's the deal. We do need more people to immigrate to this country because we're going to need more taxpayers. We've got an older generation. We're not producing younger people. This could be a very good thing for us. It should be a very good thing for us if done correctly. Now, how do we do it without saying, hey, anybody who wants to come here, we're for open borders and we'll pay for everything? And then you start breaking down, okay, this is what we want. This is what we want. This is what we think it should be. This is what we think it should be. Right-minded individuals who do not care about who gets the win can sort this out. So, yeah, she's right. The problem is she's coming at it from a point of view where she thinks she's dealing with two parties that are actually invested in finding a solution in this. And that's where she's wrong. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Trump today speaking about all kinds of things, including background checks.
I have an appetite for background checks. We're going to be doing background checks. We're working with Democrats. We're working with Republicans.
He seems to be all over the place. I got to be honest with you. He's all over the place when it comes to this. 2 days ago, it seemed he was on it. Yesterday, it seems he was completely against it. Now he says he's got an appetite for background checks.
We're working on background checks. There are things we can do, but we already have very serious background checks. We have strong background checks. We can close up the gaps. We can do things that are very good and things that, frankly, gun owners want to have done.
Yeah, and we've heard from NRA, people yesterday who are members of the NRA that there are certain things that they're looking at the NRA and saying, we think you've gone too far. There are some things that we want. But like a lot of times, right, what is it? It's the fear of the government and the overreach. And what do you allow the government to do? Because if the government, especially one side, thinks they've got you on something and they could beat you on something, right, whether it's choice or guns, and that they could just say, well, this is how we'll start it, and then we'll go from there. Then what? That's the fear factor. That is the fear factor. And the problem, as always, is, and it's something I always laugh about, is the extremes usually are the ones who control the conversation. And when you have people who are on the extremes controlling the conversation, what ends up happening? Nothing. Nothing ever gets done. They're not interested in that. What are they interested in? Keeping the conversation going, because it's a win-win for them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful day. So today, apparently, Trump is now the king of Israel. I don't know if you guys saw this. He's the king of Israel. Somebody tweeted that out, another radio person that I know a lot about, but we'll just, and now he's, this whole thing is yesterday, and I got blowback from some people, who were mad that I would even say anything about Trump and the things that he said. And, that he came out and essentially, if you guys didn't hear what he said yesterday, but he has attacked anybody who's of the Jewish faith and for even thinking about voting Democratic.
I think any Jewish people that vote for a Democrat, I think it shows either a total lack of knowledge or great disloyalty.
I just, that frustrated me. He's got blowback from a bunch of leaders, people on both sides of the aisle, Jewish leaders coming out and condemning that, saying that's ridiculous. And I sit here and I'm thinking, my God, this is where our politics in this day and age is. This ridiculous world that we live in, where we fight over things that can actually be solved, that we argue over things that we can actually get done, where we fight over things that seem more like Real Housewives than actual policy and politics. And it is so damn frustrating. It is. It is just so frustrating. I try to, as much as I love politics and, over the last 2 years, I got to say, I don't talk it. We don't talk about it. We debate the craziness, right? We debate the pop culture side of politics. We don't actually debate how things get done. We don't actually debate whether things are good or bad. We don't actually debate whether or not this put into play, whatever it is, would be good for the country or bad for the country. We do none of those things anymore, especially at the federal level, nationwide level. It is just nothing but extremism and sound bites. Sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Trump also said this morning he's not going to do any tax cuts, at least not right now, because we don't need it. The economy's strong enough that we don't need it. And I think he's holding that in the back pocket scenario. And so that I completely understand. If you're him, you hold that in the back pocket as a just-in-case scenario. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Spicy. Sean Spicer going to be on Dancing with the Stars. So this is what happens when you leave the president, right? Because Spice has been, unlike the Mooch, right? Like, because the Mooch is doing everything he's going to fund anybody who wants to run essentially against Trump. But I find it interesting that he's one of the few that he's kept his mouth pretty quiet, still been a supporter of the president, and but not afraid to go on the shows and face the line of fire. So let's see how the country takes him, because that is very much a middle America thing, Dancing with the Stars. So we'll see how the Spice does. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Moms, dads, everybody, clock watching. Why? Kids are in school, about 3 o'clock. What happens? They get home. Then what? Are you sure they're home? Not quite sure? Are they safe? You want a little peace of mind? That's where Blink comes in. Blink indoor-outdoor security cameras are there for your back-to-school shopping list and peace of mind. Blink cameras are almost like being there when your kids get home, moments after they walk through the door. So they walk through the door, boom, you get an alert on your smartphone app. Whoa! Who's hanging out with you? Because you got the two-way talk, right? Oh, Mom, this is just... Yeah, no, nobody in the house but you. Oh, yeah. Blinks are easy to set up. Couple AA batteries, right? Just a few of those. Boom. Run a couple years on those. And the system, like I said, wire-free sets up in minutes. And they started under $100 with no monthly contract. Act now and save up to 20% with Blink's back-to-school sale through Labor Day. Thanks to Blink, back-to-school security just got easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/sale. 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 Also available on Amazon. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
President Trump is calling off his planned trip to Denmark after the Danish Prime Minister dismissed his idea of the U.S. buying Greenland as absurd. President Trump announced in a tweet, quote, based on Prime Minister Mette Frederikson's comments that she would have no interest in discussing the purchase of Greenland, I will be postponing our meeting. The president was scheduled to travel to Denmark over the Labor Day weekend when he is also traveling to Poland.
Yeah. And then today he called her nasty. That's the stuff right there, right? You could be, and there's a lot of you out there. Look at him. I have news for this. So many people out there, both sides of the aisle. Some people look at him as the Antichrist. Other people look at him as the second coming. That stuff right there. I talked to Congressman David Schweikert yesterday, and he was very honest. He says, there's times, a lot of times, where the rhetoric is ridiculous. And we spend more time answering questions about things that he said than trying to get stuff done. Why would you call her nasty? Because she doesn't want to sell you a part of her country? So that's why you're mad? How do you even, look, if I was her, I'd have showed up and say, all right, you want to buy our country? You want to buy a piece of this? You want to buy Greenland? $6 trillion. That's what we think. For that, you get the mineral rights. You get all of the stuff, the whole 9 yards. $6 trillion. Go. Well, I was just inquiring. Or maybe he says yes. Again, puts it on a credit card. Gets the miles. I don't know. I just sat there and think to myself, this is the battle that goes on. This right here is the battle. Why did you call her nasty? Was there a real reason to call her nasty? And I know your base gets jazzed about that, but, look, I understand the strategic reason you may want to buy Greenland, but that's the stuff right there where you just sit there and go, 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Friends, lawsuit, huh?
It wasn't just watching 55 episodes of Friends in 4 days while on the job in January or taking in 20 episodes of Arrested Development 2 months later. Robert De Niro's film production company Canal also alleges its former VP of Production and Finance, Chase Robinson, racked up over $20,000 in unauthorized charges at restaurants and grocery stores and spent $32,000 on Ubers and taxis. Canal has filed a $6 million lawsuit against Robinson, saying caviar lunches and copious amounts of Netflix binging were not a part of the job description.
That is a lot of binge watching. That is. I don't know how people, I'll watch a show and I'll watch a couple episodes, but there's a time limit where I'm just like, I'm out, right? Like, a couple episodes, I'm like, all right, I'm on to something else, right? It's just, wow. But man, that is awesome. 55. Wow. And then The Office, another 20. Whoa. And the lunches. Let me tell you something. Hollywood is about lunches, right? It is. It is about lunches. Where are you lunching at? What are you doing? Where are you going to be seen? Well, I can't go anywhere. I've got to have stuff brought into me. Why is that? Because I'm watching Friends all day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. By the way, that production company and the whole Irishman that's coming out, which is this new Netflix movie that they want to release in theaters. Apparently, theater chains are saying, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're going to do this. We're going to allow you to have it here if you're going to release it on Netflix at the same day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Chad Benson Show.
This is the best of Chad Benson.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I was talking to voters here, and particularly not just Democratic voters, but Republican voters. People get to put in a corn kernel for which candidate they support. You put in your corn kernel? Who did you put it in for?
Yes. I'm white, old. They call me all kinds of names.
And so
Who do you think I would vote for? Come on. You're smarter than that.
I'll let you fill in the blank.
Yeah, no, I don't have to fill in the blank. Everybody knows we're the bad people.
Oh. Are they? It's interesting. We talk about how, everything now is seen through prisms of you have to, are you this, are you that, and what group are you in, and, here's your tribe, and this is that, and you're a liberal, you're a Democrat, you're a progressive, you're a conservative, you're a Republican, you're an alt-righter, you have all of this stuff, and, you're African-American, you're black, you're Latino, you're this, it's crazy. And it's funny because he's being very sarcastic there. And that's an Iowan who's at the fair, right? And it's very interesting because the way he said it is because we're the bad people. And there's that certain sense, right? Where, those people judge everybody by the color of their skin. So, in turn, we're going to judge you by the color of your skin. Huh? Yeah. Right? It's weird when you think about it. But a lot of people do. A lot of people look at people and say, you're an old white person, so you must be like this. It's a judgment. Just because you're white doesn't mean it's not a judgment on you.
What do they call you?
I'm a racist. I went to school. I shared my dorm with a colored guy. I have nothing against him. I grew up in the East. We grew up with people.
Do you think the president's a racist, though?
No, I don't. I really don't.
There you go. But it doesn't matter. Right? Oh, you said colored guy. I mean, people will pick that apart because that's what they're going to do. But there are a lot of people out there that judge. You get it all the time. I mean, you just got to look at Twitter and see the judgment that goes down. And it's so funny because, we live in a world now where we say we don't want people to be judged by, who they love, who they worship, blah, 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 blah. But there's a group out there that wants to be able to go, well, you're a male and you're white, so automatically you're bad. You're bad. And if you're older and you're white, you're misogynistic, you're part of the patriarchy, you're a racist. And it's like, wow. So you get to judge all of those things. Yeah. Yeah, people do. People get to judge that. I mean, my God. Think about this. We talked a bit about it last week. Roseanne Arquette apologized for being white and was ashamed. The hell is that about? It's craziness. But it goes on. And this is funny. This is something that will make you laugh. Campus reform that does crazy, wacky stuff and take it for what it is. They went out just to show people how silly things are, right? Just how the virtue signaling of life is. We're going to virtue signal. You guys are going to like this. So they went out to, I think it was George Washington, and they said, oh, this will be funny. They decided that they needed to get rid of the crosswalk guy because he's white, and they wanted a more inclusive bunch of crosswalk walking signs.
Today we're at George Washington University. That is a white man. Will students sign a fake petition to change it in the name of diversity and inclusion? Let's find out. The crosswalk signs, we're trying to petition to have them changed. Some students on campus have been offended by them because it's just a picture of a white man. We're proposing that we could change them to be more representative.
That's so cute! Oh my god, yeah! Wait, that's awesome!
Is this something you've thought about before?
No, I never thought about it, but I can see, I guess, why some students have a problem with it. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I'll totally sign that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, that's awesome. I can see why people have it. Really? It's a light. It's a joke, and they're trying to get people in the hot, but there are people out. This is the virtue signaling side of things that go on in the world. What a virtue signaler. This will be fun. People are like, nobody wanders around and thinks, well, that thing needs to change, doesn't it? Right? Like that thing is, but people are always looking in this day and age for something to be offended by.
We just didn't want to offend anyone,
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So is this something you guys can get on board with?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. You guys sign for me?
Yeah. I assume it's one of many ways in which the default is imagined to be a white man.
But we're trying to be, we're trying to be pioneers.
Well, that's a good idea.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
I haven't really thought of it as a white guy. I've just thought of it as the lightest white.
I mean, now that I've thought about it, I haven't ever thought about it, but it's just one of those things that... It's definitely a lack of representation. Yeah, for sure.
Is this something you've thought about before?
Yeah.
This feels virtue signaling, right? Yeah, kind of. I don't think about it 24/7, but yeah, it's definitely. I mean, when I go, I don't even know if, and it's almost like the white man is giving you permission or no permission to cross the street. That right there says everything you need to know. And be, it is so funny though, right? Because people want to see all kinds of things. Right? They want to see race in everything. They want to be able to tell you that you're judgmental, all the while judging you in a lot of ways. I judged. Yeah. Who doesn't? Oh, you're all tatted up, so you must be a bad guy. You're a party animal, do drugs, dangerous, been locked up a bunch. I mean, what? Right? And of course we all have a bit of bias and stuff. That's human nature. But it is really funny, and that is total virtue signaling. We definitely got to do that. Got to get rid of that thing. Just got to go. And the fact that people would sign it, I would like to see the whole thing where people are like, come on, dude, stop being a clown. Because you would hope that would happen. Not sure it would, but you'd kind of hope it would. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of you texting in because about 70% of Americans say they like breakfast for dinner. And we've got the top 10 breakfast foods that Americans love. Banana, 26, do not eat. Breakfast sandwich, cereal, avocado, waffles. God, I love a waffle. Belgian or otherwise. I like this. It says toast. It's really bread that becomes toast. Pancakes, bacon. How bacon is not number one in everything. I don't even know if you count bacon anymore as breakfast, though, because it is everywhere. Sausage should never be in front of bacon, ever. And I like a good sausage, right? I do, but bacon still is bacon. And the number one thing Americans love as far as breakfast goes is eggs. And eggs are also one of those things that's no longer for dinner. It isn't. My lizards love eggs. They like scrambled eggs, and they like when I hard boil them. They tear them apart. It's hilarious. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. What's Facebook doing? Listen to this right here. Listen, you just don't, like, producer Phil, you and I were talking about yesterday, because you had somebody coming over looking at, like, you were looking at windows and stuff, and he left his iPad there, and your first thought was, he's probably in the truck listening to what potentially we're saying. And I thought, wow, yeah, that's creepy, but that's real. And Facebook's been doing it, listening to your stuff and just going and writing out and transcribing it.
Facebook confirming it hired outside contractors to listen to and transcribe audio chats of users on its Messenger app. The company says it wanted to be sure the voice messages were being correctly interpreted and users had opted in to having their conversations transcribed. But according to a new report from Bloomberg, those outside contractors were troubled by their work, listening to people's private conversations. They found it unethical.
Yeah. Now, are they stopping? They're pausing it. We're gonna pause it a little bit. We're not totally saying no. We're just at this moment in time, we're gonna pause it. They're listening. They're checking everything that is going on. They got it. That's what it's about. Remember, you are the product. I am the product. We, you and I, are not the end users for whatever they're going to do. And most of it isn't nefarious. It's just about how can they market you and break down the analytics and get to the point where they can pinpoint you for certain products and things. That's what it's about. Rather than hit and hope, send out 1 million and hope you get a few back. How can I make it so I send out 5 and get 3 back? Whatever those sales things are. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Love hearing from every single one of you. Check out the Instagram as well. That their gram thing is pretty cool. I saw a YouTuber, the guy that they call the first YouTuber, professional YouTuber, last night said that he's leaving YouTube. And he said the reason he's leaving YouTube is they've changed their analytics to the point now where it's just not worth it for him anymore. It's just not. He says, this is the continual messing and playing and poking and prodding and trying to tweak things. And we deal with it on a daily basis. I mean, why does something take off and something else doesn't? Why is it that this video gets 5,000 or 10,000 views and this video gets 2,300 views? Or why is it, what is it? And it's because it's an ever changing thing. And this guy's like, he got to the point where, at one time he had like 1 million subscribers. And they say he was the first one that was a professional YouTuber where that's all he did. And he says, look, I got to go. It's been a good run, and I'm going to have to find another platform. And I think a lot of people are looking at what can they do. And that's what happens when you want this perfection world, and you want all of these things. And you'll tweak it here and you'll tweak it there. And, when you've got people that are running these things, especially in the analytical world, biases can come in. And it may have nothing to do with politics or anything other than this person thinks that this thing is what a lot of people want to see. 323-538-2423. Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Car Shield. Travel. I drive a lot. This weekend. So this week, probably, because I have a long drive to and from work. And Jack is heading home, so I got to drive him home. So I'll probably this week, I'll do almost 2,000 miles. I don't worry about my car. I have Car Shield. 24/7 roadside assistance, rental car for free while my car's in the shop. And if something was to happen, I get to choose the shop that I would take to. I can take it back to the dealership. They'll get them paid directly. I pay a small deductible and away we go. It is an amazing thing to have that peace of mind, especially as cars get older. And we're keeping our cars longer and longer because we're taking better care of them. But you get to a point where you don't have that what if. That's what Car Shield is about, and that's what they will do for you. In fact, their administrators have paid close to about $2 billion in claims So get yourself some protection the right way. Do what I did. Get CarShield. It's the ultimate extended vehicle protection. Call 800-CAR-6000. That's 800-CAR-6000. Use my code Benson. Saves you 10%. They got all kinds of things. You go to carshield.com. Find out the thing that you want, what works best for you and the car that you have. That's carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
Boys, give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
Behind the scenes, White House officials have been sitting down with staff from Democratic Senators Manchin and Murphy's offices, as well as Republican Senator Toomey. The goal, come up with a bipartisan way forward on gun control. A White House official said the president has given his full blessing for the bipartisan discussions and is staying up to date as he remains at his country club in Bedminster. Senators Manchin and Toomey had a background check bill following the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre that was blocked by a filibuster. They are hoping they can now move it forward.
Again, and this is going to be something moving forward. You know, Beto, I guess, is going to come out and he's resetting tomorrow. Does he have the red button, Phil? Is there a reset button?
The easy button?
Yeah, do you get that from Hillary? She's like, hey, do you still have that thing? Because it worked really well for you. And that's going to be one of his big things. And, you know, the debate is going to rage on. We gave data yesterday. We gave facts yesterday. It frustrates me because you look and I'm like, I want to have a discussion about guns, but I want to have a discussion about the fact that we have so many angry and pissed off people that act out. And it's really, when you start breaking down the data, it's not as much as you think it is. Again, what is it? It's you're 4 times more likely to die from a sharp object stabbing you. What do we do? And that's a really, really fair question of how we go about doing this. You know, you look at places like California right now. There's a mayor in San Jose that wants everybody who has a gun to carry liability insurance, right? So Liccardo wants everybody to carry liability insurance. First of all, I don't think it's constitutional. Secondly, what if you can't afford it? Well, they're going to have a fund where people pay, and we'll take that money and help people. There's just a lot of things that go into this, and it makes me laugh because in some ways, the left tries to do a lot of different things with health care and even with guns. What you're going to find out, you think we have an inequity now. If they get a lot of their way, the people that will be able to have guns will be the wealthy. The people that will have better health insurance will be the wealthy, all for the sake of the little guy. Let's have a real discussion. We're going to have universal background checks. Okay, but what happens then? Right? And I always ask my friends who are on the left, like, what happens if you get all the things you want as far as your gun control, but things don't change? People find different ways of committing chaos and mass murder because they're pissed off and angry at the world. And all you did was put a Band-Aid, you know, for lack of a better term, on a bullet wound without going in and finding out, hey, let's find the bullet, let's remove it, let's fix it on the inside, and we'll go from there. Not saying things aren't going to be perfect, because you and I both know that's not going to happen as long as human beings are around. But I feel like this is virtue signaling with no real teeth and not dealing with the issue, which is very much a political thing. How can we make ourselves feel better without actually dealing with said issue? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, because I love hearing from you. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends of all ages, Gator!
This was the emergency at this retirement community about half an hour from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina.
Alligator bite. It's a 68-year-old female was bitten by an alligator.
Police say that out of the blue, a woman walking her dog in her own backyard and about 25 yards from a pond was attacked around 10 p.m. Monday night by an alligator.
We do not know where the alligator is or how large it was.
Her dog survived, but she had to be rushed to the hospital where she remains this morning.
Yep. Saw it was a 100-pound pit bull. Got eaten by a gator. Producer Phil and I talk about it all the time. Nature will mess you up. Some of these places, especially in the South, man, if there's a pond, even if there's a puddle, be careful. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, Instagram. You should probably get a MySpace page because I have a feeling that's going to make a comeback, baby. Chad Benson Show.
You're listening to the best of Chad Benson.
This is the Chad Benson Show.